I'm happy to see you again on my channel. Today we will talk about a famous gambling and risky game called Russian roulette. Okay, let's get started! It just so happened that under the phrase Russian roulette lies not only a dangerous game associated with the rotation of the revolver drum, but also some adventures are called getting involved in which, along with the chances of a successful resolution of the situation, the participant risks ending it in a sad and sometimes very tragic way. Initially, Russian roulette of course implies a dangerous game with firearms. The rules of the game are as follows. The participants of the game insert one bullet into the chamber of the revolver drum, spin the drum, put the muzzle to the temple and pull the trigger. Depending on how many chambers the revolver has, the player also has a corresponding probability coefficient for survival. This is what concerns the classic version of the game of Russian roulette. The history of the game has a lot more options. For example, not one bullet but several can be inserted into a 6-shot revolver drum. There is an option when instead of the temple, the muzzle of a revolver is put to the arm or leg. In this case, the participants risk their lives of course less, although it still remains due to possible infection or blood loss to a fatal outcome. But the health risk certainly remains. By the way, speaking of which, if after each pull of the trigger the player does not rotate the drum, then the chances that a shot will occur increase by a multiply. It is very difficult to say for sure who and when came up with this extreme activity. It is widely believed that the earliest recorded mention of this game is under the name Russian roulette dates back to 1937, when in the American edition of Collier's Weekly it was described from the words of a French serviceman. He allegedly watched how officers of the Russian Tsarist army played it during the First World War. There are cases that described similar games but were not directly called Russian roulette. For example, one of the heroes of the Lermontov's novel The Hero of Our Time does something similar with a single-shot flintlock pistol, which often misfires and accordingly a chance of survival. Different sources give different versions of the appearance of this entertainment. Some argue that in the 19th and 20th centuries the guards at hard labor forced prisoners to play this game, and the guards themselves most often pressed the trigger while making bets. Others say that with the appearance of the first revolvers in the Russian army, officers played roulette during gatherings in order to demonstrate their bravery and contempt for death. There is also information that Russian officers who were captured by the Turks played roulette, demonstrating disregard for death. In reality, it is very difficult to say where and when this dangerous game appeared, but rather impossible. Perhaps indeed it originated in the Russian army among the officers, although it is likely that its variants existed in different countries, for example in USA. But in a generalized form, it became known for some reason under the name Russian roulette. Okay, so let's talk about what you need to do if you want to win in this game. What do you need to know about this? Many officers manage to impress others by playing Russian roulette with one bullet. However, if you lubricate the drum in advance, all this turned out to be not so terrible, even if it was unsafe. The center of gravity during the rotation of the drum fell just on the bullet. He was shifting the drum down. The firing pin was hitting an empty chamber at the top. However, this technique worked only with strictly vertical rotation. If you rotate the drum horizontally, the outcome could be completely opposite. Was such a trick an ordinary scam? I think you could say that. It's like putting an ordinary roulette wheel at an angle. After all, in a tilted roulette, the ball will roll into the numbers of a certain sector. So now you know how to win in this tricky game. Okay, that's all for today. Subscribe on my channel, put your likes and write comments if you want. I'll be interested in your opinion about this video and what do you want to listen about in the next one. Have a good day!